Okay, so we are already 3 minutes into the meeting. I think we can just start. Are there any volunteers to start the pull request demo?
Maybe I can.
Go ahead, Alex.
Okay, 1 second. Yeah. So today I want to present several pull requests I made previous week, and one starts from this one. So we excluded the Adobe Stock related knowledge from the Adobe IMS module because Adobe IMS module shouldn't know anything about any kinds of implementation. So, and this is why when you will update your current Adobe Stock Integration project, please just take note that config settings were changed and you will have to update your credentials. So it's the first one. And the second one, I made some adjustment to the PHP docs section. I hope that I will also cover other modules with this nice documentation. So after that, I did several refactoring. I improved the code quality of our project with some best practice, and also adjust exception log process, because just we have lots of place where we use logging for exception, and just I corrected according to the architecture review made for the media gallery. And I have one in progress. If we will have time, I want to discuss this implementation. So I started work on Adobe Stock SDK stuff, and I provided solution where I do not make a module just which can replace the Adobe Stock client with a preference, because I think it's quite dangerous to provide such ability for users, because it's really tricky and can lead to the not usual situation, and maybe not desired situation. Yes, when you, for example, test your Adobe Stock clients locally, then you forgot to change the preference, make a pull request, your team lead just can make a mistake and read not the test module, but think that this is a real one, and you will push to production or staging or whatever the stub module. So what I did, just I present, maybe I will show this. I created the test module Adobe Stock client and create 5 classes. I mean, just 4 classes, just to cover with stub every public method in our client object. And for example, if the one who will use this stub will need just a search result, yes, it can use the search class from the test module, and it will get the stub request. So if we will have time, let's maybe discuss this, or if not, we can have a separate meeting about this. And maybe that's all, but not that's all. I want to say that in the previous week, we had a contribution day in Kharkiv, and we have made some requests and adjustment to the Adobe Stock integration. And I would say that it was really great activity. So, yep, maybe that's all for me.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Just for contribution day in Kharkiv, I see that Sergey Akulov has joined the call as well. He was one of probably the only contributor from, except you, Alex, who made the contributions during the contribution day in Kharkiv to Adobe Stock Integration, to that project. Thank you for that. Thank you for organization the contribution day and participation in it.
Yeah, thank you for managing it.
Actually, I have a couple of questions regarding the stub.
Okay, should I share a screen or?
Yeah, it would be good.
Okay, 1 second. I will share it once more. Okay, here we are.
Just to see the structure. So the first question is the stub just for integration tests, or can we use it with functional and Web API, for example, tests as well?
I think that I made it only for integration because I really do not know how to put it in a way Magento provides. I mean that I do not want to include this module in a regular installation only with a integration test installation or maybe web API installation, when Magento creates this folder, I mean this module, it transfers to the app namespace, yes, and then when you execute the rollback, it deletes it from the code section. So, but this module can be easily used for any other kind of test, because just what you need is just to include this namespace to your module and it will work. So it doesn't have any objection on any, just insert with the object manager. So it's completely separate and independent module, but it has a tight connection with the Adobe SDK. Because, for example, I use some, you see, I just copy paste some code from the Adobe SDK in order to make it as real as possible. And this class, raw stock response, I didn't know how to make it better. I just copy paste the response from the Adobe Stock service and included it to this class. So if you have some ideas about this, please provide.
No, it looks actually how I imagined it. It looks okay. I'm not sure about using the Adobe Stock components and classes, as the test module was supposed to just replace Adobe Stock, so that ideally it should work without Adobe Stock. But I see that you are using it just for some helper classes like search parameters and stuff like that, so I think that's okay. But yeah, can you show how you are replacing the actual client with those classes? Is it DI preference?
No, sorry, there is no any client replacement. I did next. So you see this method. Let me show you. I will close everything, close others, and show you the client, and you will see. So we have a client class, right? And in a client class, we have a search method. So I stop the method. So what I did, I just copy pasted the code, which just start generation stop process. So I call the SDK class, which just only generate the needed object from the response, and response I stop in this class. So we do not have any connection to the Adobe Stock.
No, I mean the integration test that is supposed to test client, for example, that it will call the search method of Adobe Stock client.
Right?
Right?
Oh, thank you. I got, yes. So to emulate the code to the Adobe Stock service, the user should do next. So include in a constructor, I don't know how, just or create, I don't know, maybe include in a constructor this class, Adobe Stock client model client search, and call the method execute. Just because I did next, every public method in the client class is just a reflection here. So for example, search is just a search class. Get license request, get license request is not, it's private. For example, get license info, get license confirmation, get quota. I mean, this one. So every public method is just a class, which will provide the stop data.
Okay.
Because every public method is just a separate thing. You see that in this, we have client like a helper, because client does next get quota, get license confirmation, just execute the search result, and I do not see any. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I understood. So to test the client, we'll need to add the client to the implementation of client interface to the test module, then proxy all calls from that client to these separate classes that you have introduced, And then we'll have to add a DI preference to the test module that will rewrite the Adobe Stock client to the Adobe Stock client stub, the class that contains all the methods that Adobe Stock client contains. Right?
Uh, I don't know. It sounds really complicated. Sorry, but
Okay. Good.
but
Let's take it offline.
Okay. Thank you. So, but we will discuss it later, right?
Yeah. I will explain it in more details. Let's discuss it later.
Okay. Thank you.
It
Thank
might
you.
take
So,
might take time. Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Anyway, good that we started implementing stuff, and we have some good approach that is already used by integration tests, and hopefully we will be able also to extend it to web API and functional tests using the same approach. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Who wants to go next? Maybe as we mentioned, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I will share my screen right now. This is a very simple pull request made by me around 2 days ago. Rename the locate button to open in media gallery. It's just the locate button which you have already seen that it's changed to open in media gallery. It's not a big deal here. And another pull request is just me and Sergi worked yesterday and day before yesterday. Save a license image, then delete, and then open a grid. And locate button is shown on a preview. As this PR is just having the issue. Like I will show some demo. Just a moment. As here the button is currently showing as a save. If I confirm and as a image license image has been saved, as is changed to open in media gallery. So if a user deletes the same image from the media gallery, then it should change to save. Here as it changed. So this is regarding this pull request. Expected result is open in media gallery button will be hidden and save button will be visible. So we got here. And another pull request was made on 1.1 develop, introduce a new media gallery UI module, which will be on the phase 3, and we have added a configuration, system configuration. Here in the media gallery, store configuration, advanced system and media gallery, and this currently we have only one field, enable media gallery. Yes, that's it from my side.
Yeah, thank you, Shankar. I think that's really nice two fixes for the release. And first pull request probably March for the next milestone. We have basically introduced a new module where we will be able to work later on, and also introduced the configuration switch. I think Olena might want to take a look on that and tell us she's okay with the naming of the switch and so on.
Oh, okay. I missed what you were talking about.
Shankar, if you don't mind, can you show the configuration? Are you able to show the configuration switch that you introduced? If you are
Yeah, sure.
on
Yeah, sure.
1.1
Just a moment.
develop branch.
Mm-mm.
Yes, so as we
No,
discussed.
I'm currently not. Yeah, can I open this screenshot? Is it okay?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
system section now contains
Yeah.
media
Okay.
gallery. I think it's not really up to date. It just says enabled, not enabled media gallery. That's kind of first step that we did to introduce switch between old and new media galleries. And
Oh, nice. So,
to the iteration, but that's something to consider for
so
us.
if I enable media gallery, what does it mean?
It's like you are enabling new media gallery. You are disabling the old one and enabling the new that we are going to introduce.
I guess
switch.
we need to make labels like clearer so users understand like what they actually do.
That's why I asked you about this one.
Okay, so hold on a second. I'll take a screenshot and ask Eugene what would be the better option. Oh, Eugene actually joined. Eugene, did you join or it's just a ghost of you?
Hi. Yes.
So you see, guys introduced a switcher for backward compatibility of the new gallery with the legacy customization that customers might have. So we are wondering what, basically, like if you choose yes in this case, it means you enable a new gallery. If you choose no, it means the old gallery remains in place and new gallery is not available. So like, I believe we need to make a clear distinction between these options.
Yeah. So people will need to know what is the difference, and essentially, I think the difference is it's a file system based gallery versus like a asset management based gallery. I don't have a better word for that. Like maybe file system based versus database managed, something like that. But definitely, it's not an enable media gallery, right? We already have media gallery. It's more like do you want to change the way how your assets managed? And it would be either yes, no, or maybe like we'll have like a switch between two different versions, more locally like file-based or old versus like database versus database or new. We need to figure that out, like how we call that.
Yeah, maybe we might want to add a comment as well if we need to provide like some additional explanation.
Yeah. So, what are your opinion about like how we can differentiate it, like old versus new?
So basically, the difference between new and old media galleries is just visual representation, right? Because we are anyway with old media gallery and with new media gallery, we are storing files and information about files the same way. Even right now, when we are saving images from Adobe Stock Integration to media gallery, we're still saving the fields to the database. And yeah, so media gallery tables are included in Magento even without Adobe Stock Integration extension. So that should be something about visual representation and visual. I was thinking about UI components, but probably that's not a familiar term to admin users. So yeah, we might need to.
With this new media gallery, would we still have folders would be basically operate out of the file system?
Well, on backend side, we still have our files and folders. On front-end interface, it's actually today's the day when we are going to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
because
I seen your latest mockups. Looks like we still have folders and
yeah. I mean, in terms of like storage, would the storage be the source of truth for the files, or would the database be source of truth of files? It's like if you right now when you have the media gallery right now is that you can upload the files any way you like, and they will be still showing up in the media gallery, right? Not necessarily in a database, but what would be in a new way? Do we basically keep the same thing that your file system is the source of truth for your assets, or we have some sort of a way to look to the database to see your assets? I think that is the primary differentiator, apart from UI, of course. But UI change also doesn't makes it backward incompatible, right? It's just UI. We're just refreshing UI. It's not really something that's really changed.
Yeah, I understand
Or
your point of view. However, I still don't have an idea on how should it be called based on that. Like it could be as simple as enhanced media gallery, something general, or maybe we want to think about some branding, give the media gallery some name, real name, like I don't know, agile media gallery, cool media gallery.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
What do you think about including a paragraph underneath as suggested initially, and then point that paragraph to the documentation we've been creating, where it's going to be explained in more detail what this media gallery is about?
Yeah, I think we have to do this. We will probably explain the media gallery concept, the new media gallery concept, even in the documentation for this release as part of our merge docs, dev docs contributions. But yeah, even for this field name, we are talking about some one word to word name for new media gallery, just to name it here. Maybe we can actually do some voting on that in the chat, and probably then take a look at it once again and think about it, and then fix the name on the next meeting. What do you think about it?
Yeah, that's a good point. So I would definitely say that media gallery is kind of like it's already in Magento, right? So enable media gallery doesn't really make sense. It's just like we want to have like a name for the new media gallery that we are calling out. Like you'll be using this kind of like a new thing, which yeah, we can have a poll on the name for that yet.
What about media gallery 2.0?
No. No, maybe just let's name it just media manager, media resource manager, something like that, because just it's really nice when Magento explains what you will have, what you will achieve. So because just it's like Adobe Stock Integration, right? Just a lot of people thought that stock it means just when you it's just like a storage, not Adobe Stock Service.
So guys, this is Elena. I guess by default, when we release this third milestone, we enable new media gallery experience by default. And we will enable the way back for users to kind of switch it off and enable the old media gallery, similar to what we've done to old TinyMC WYSIWYG plugin. So we still have in Magento TinyMC3 working and supported, like for a couple of extra months at least. And we enable that switcher in the configuration. So like by default, we enable TinyMC4, but if for some reason due to customization, older version, you can do this in Magento admin. So maybe we can like borrow that experience and apply for the media gallery, just like saying as an idea.
So how is it called for TinyMC3?
So go to scroll up, whoever is sharing. In the configuration, I mean. Yeah, so go to the configuration. I guess content management, yeah. So you see Visivig editor. No. Like the second drop down. Visivig editor. So by default it's TinyMC4, but
Oh, so you think it should be Media Gallery 2.0 then?
maybe. I mean, maybe.
I see. I propose that variant. Guys, please drop all your ideas on how the option should be called. Either like indicating the new Media Gallery name or how old Media Gallery should be named if we are going to switch to this one. To Slack to our channel, then I will create a poll. We'll vote, and probably or we will consider and discuss those options and maybe take the final decision next meeting. What do you think about that? Just together to collect the information for us to be able to easier take this decision, and also like it looks like we need to have some time to think about it.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, great.
Thanks, Shankar, for sharing.
Guys, can I give a suggestion? Can we call it as a Adobe Stock Media Gallery?
Once again?
Well, it's related to Adobe Stock Media Gallery.
Adobe Stock
Media Gallery. Because it's related to Adobe Stock, and yeah.
Well,
because it's related to Adobe Stock.
Yeah, but it will be delivered out
as
of
it's
Adobe
related
Stock.
To.
So
because it's only showing that. Sorry, we are interpreting each other, interfering each other. So I was saying that we can use Adobe Stock Media Gallery. So as it's enable the Adobe Stock, like licensing the Adobe Stock images from the Media Gallery. So it's a more prominent way to say that like Adobe Stock Media Gallery. So you can license the image and you can view the detail of the licensed image from the Media Gallery. So it's a very prominent name to use Adobe Stock Media Gallery, as its user is also not confusing with the Media Gallery and Adobe Stock Media Gallery.
Yeah, that's kind of Adobe Stock is becoming a brand for everything, right? So Adobe Stock registered mark Media Gallery, something like that.
Let's call next Magento version Adobe Stock.
Yeah, the thing with Adobe Stock, there might be a concern because we are delivering Media Gallery out of Adobe Stock scope. It will be part of Magento, even if Adobe Stock is not installed there. But yeah, Adobe, I don't know, Adobe Stock inspired Media Gallery, something like that. Just drop your suggestion to Slack.
Okay.
Yeah, we should consider all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. We have a delay on the call, so probably we hear each other after a couple of seconds. That's why it's very hard to talk right one after another. So sorry for interrupting you. Okay. Who wants to go next? Come on, maybe Sergey would like to show his pull request from the contribution day Kharkiv? I'm not sure if he is able to.
Okay, 1 minute, please. Maybe I'm next.
Okay, anybody before Sergey? Like Phil, you probably have a chance to share the updates on functional tests. The incredible things are happening there.
You're too nice. Sure. I still have yet to send the pull request. I'm testing on my fork right now. And the job's actually just finished. So really briefly, over the past couple weeks, we've been working on getting some of the sub-builds in Travis passing for MFTF. So actually out of, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 sub-builds of different groups of MFTF tests. We've gotten 5 passing, which is pretty good, thanks to all the contributors that have helped out there. 3 are still failing, and it's been really hard for me to figure out what's going on with these tests. Why are they failing? So I'm working on a branch, and this particular build is off my fork. So I opened these failing builds, and what I did is I added, maybe I show a fresh build. So if you open a failed MFTF build on Travis, and you go scroll all the way down in the build logs, you'll see like, okay, there were 3 errors in this particular build. You then expand the after failure logs. It has a lot of logs in here. For the Selenium experts, you could look at the Selenium logs to maybe have things help out. But at the very, very end, what I added was uploading of the screenshots to ImageBB, which is like a free image upload service. So let's see if this works. So it says like, okay, I'm uploading the acceptance test for the license suite for the not licensed image license test. So at the moment of failure, MFTF took a screenshot, and then after that, we collected these screenshots and uploaded them to ImageBB. I still got to clean up some of the output here as it's escaping slashes and stuff. But at least the screenshots from the MFTF failures should be publicly visible now. So hopefully this can help us debug the MFTF tests a little bit. So I'll be sending this PR to the project today, I think, sometime. That's it.
Yeah, thank you. That will be really helpful. I was waiting for this feature, to be honest. Thanks for that. Okay, so Sergey, are you ready?
Yes. Okay. Sorry for my English. This is my first presentation. Okay, I'm fix one bug. When we open Media Gallery and open image preview, we see jump this section before load image. I create pull request. Okay. I can find this. Okay, no, I can't. I create pull request when I fix this small bug. Okay, no, empty. That's it. Sorry for
Yeah, so basically the UI is not jumping right now. and we are just showing the tabs and loading the images a bit later, while we are preserving the space for those images. That looks good.
Yes.
Maybe Eugene had some comments on that
Okay.
appearance.
1 minute.
Eugene, are you here?
Excuse me, can you show it again, please? I just missed that specific screen share.
Sergey, would you be able to show the expanding related images once again for Eugene?
Sorry, I just missed the screen share.
No, it looked nice. I would look at it second time as well.
1 minute, please. Sorry.
I will. I can actually share it. Just opened my. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So, for now, that's how it looks like. We don't have. We are preserving the space, so there is no jump. We don't have any content though inside the preserved space. What do you think about it?
I think it looks great. The only comment I have is that it doesn't make it obvious that it's still loading. So, and I know that you mentioned me on the ticket. Sorry, I forgot to add that a ghost state. So maybe we can have some sort of a gray box there, suggesting that the content is still loading. I will provide some sort of a prototype or mock-up how they look like, because I think it deserves some slight animation, basically, to transition between the loading state and the loading, but it looks much better than before. Of course, it's great.
Okay, thank you.
What about the spinner that is used everywhere in Magento?
Yeah, we can use spinner, but I would place this. I need to think about placement of the spinner, where to place it, so it doesn't. First of all, it doesn't block anything, and second, it makes it obvious. So we're loading just specifically this space. I will provide the mockup.
Yeah, it's just the scene so that we don't have any content here, so it's still empty with the spinner. Yeah, we need to take a look how it actually should look like. Maybe it shouldn't be gray at all, and just gray spinner on white background. Probably will look better than the regular gray spinner or something like this. Yeah, we could add it once we'll have the final idea on that one. Thank you, Sergey.
Thank you. The spinner, I think that's a good idea.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks. So, anybody else would like to share the contribution? Okay, then let me give you a quick update. One thing that was changed from technical side. So I hope you can see what's on my screen. How can I zoom in? Change my font size. Can you see the code on the screen clearly? So that is our client interface that we used for any interaction with that we actually use it for any interaction with Adobe Stock SDK. Recently, we have introduced the separate request for licensing. So search is now no longer returns is licensed column. That was done for performance improvement, and really performance improved a lot with loading the images and just working with Adobe Stock Integration page when you logged in, because is licensed information requires a lot of time on Adobe Stock site to return the result. So by default, search is now returning everything, all the fields except the licensing information, and doesn't require authentication. If you come and take a look on the implementation of search, it currently doesn't use the assess token for assessing the images. But we have implemented additional interface for client, that is client files interface. And that service is also client. Unfortunately, Adobe Stock SDK, like Stock API PHP package, didn't have the implementation for that Adobe Stock API. Actually, if you are interested, it would be good to create a pull request to the SDK as well to introduce working with files endpoint, because it's a new endpoint, but currently we have implemented it on our side. So the endpoint accepts IDs and columns. Columns are fields that you would like to get back, and locale is optional param. If locale is not passed, it will use the default locale selected. I mean, the admin selected locale. The service will return the columns for images of specified IDs. Right now in Adobe Stock Integration, it is used in a way that first request when we are rendering a script is performed via search, via SDK, and all fields are rendered on front end. And then as soon as we get all files returned by search request, we get all their IDs, and we send the second request from the front end in asynchronous mode, so a user can work with grid, but licensed labels are not yet rendered. And the second request is using file service, that is accepting IDs and returning the licensed information based on IDs. So on front end, it's actually quite quick. If I will change the page, you'll see that first I will render images without licensed labels, and then after some time they will appear on the page. So just for you to know that we have new service on client side for client for assessing Adobe Stock API, and also please consider contributing to it to SDK if you are interested in working on Adobe repositories as well. So,
Just
any questions?
URL of the repo in the Slack channel for anybody to they are interested.
Yes, sure. I'll drop it. Then, if there are no questions or any other updates, I think that's it for the demo, and we can go through stories for Marathon 3 and through the design. Let me actually share the screen again. So on our wiki, so if you go to our repository and to our wiki, on the right side there is roadmap and stories link. That's how I opened this page. And there are links to all stories on Adobe Stock Integration. So it's phase 1, phase 2, and actual for now, phase 3. As you can see, is already populated. And let's just go and take a look on several stories. There are stories for implementing the grid for media gallery. I think that's the basic one. Let's start from this. Oh, that one probably. Yeah, basic image attributes. Olena, would you like to describe the story? How
Yeah,
how
sure.
we're going to go through that grooming process?
Yeah, what I missed. What was that story you opened?
That's the user views basic image attributes. I was trying actually to find the story about the grid on media gallery. Do we have that story?
I mean, we can define in which story it makes more sense to like start implementing the new grid. Um, and yeah, like go from there. I don't have like implement new grid story or something like that. So all of the like stories are like functionality based. So it's up to us in which story you start working on a new grid.
Which
And
one?
I guess that basic image at can you open basic image attributes and limited information? Like there are two stories, view basic image attributes and limited image. I guess yeah,
Yes.
basic image attributes is something that is in yeah. So this is basically in this story we assume that on top of the image previews, we display some limited information about the image, like title, the origin of the image, the image type, and the resolution of the image. So this is this is the story we can like take and implement their new grid without filtering, without like pagination, just displaying their images with this additional limited number of attributes. What
Yeah,
do you
that's
think?
exactly the story I was looking for. Yeah, looks like
Yeah,
yeah.
at least this is what makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense from development perspective.
Yeah, it does make sense. So limited storage information in a grid. That's actually what grid is showing to us, image
Exactly.
information.
It's like a first differentiation between the existing representation of image tiles and the new ones, right? So we still show this folder navigation, but we show the image previews along with this like basic attributes. The only
Okay, so
difference from the mockup perspective, we don't see like how many records found, the sorting, the pagination, like all of that panel that exists between the navigation bar and the images with the tree doesn't exist.
how can I
Make sense?
paste?
I mean, at least like from this particular story perspective.
Okay, so we are talking about that area that I selected here. So that is the first.
Yeah.
Can you see my selection? I'm not sure if you can see screenshot selection on.
Yeah, I don't know if
Sure.
you select the tree, but the tree is also included because we have the tree right now, and it should be present after the first story implementation.
Okay, then considering that tree is kind of filter, when we will divide the story by tasks, I think the first one will still be that part when we'll just connect the masonry grid to so when we'll have that switch enabled in system configuration that we were talking about earlier today, instead of media galleries that we have right now on that select image slide panel, we'll need to render the images using the masonry grid that we developed in as part of milestone 2.
So I think the right way to have a screenshot for the first story would be like copying what you just selected and pasting that part of the implementation into existing media gallery instead of the images that they are right now.
Okay. Okay. I will do the screenshot later and like work with Photoshop a bit as well. So the first part, there are some differences between the masonry grid, how it's implemented right now, and the actual masonry grid that we can see on the screenshot for Media Gallery. The main difference that you can see, let me open the masonry grid here, is that images on masonry grid are not really in grid. So they are displayed in lines and they don't have columns. And on Media Gallery, we are going to adjust that and display them as squares. So each image in its square. It looks like styles have to be adjusted here for Media Gallery. And not just image will be visible on the grid. Right now, the grid's Adobe Stock Integration grid has several columns, several fields, but only one is visible by default. Until we open the preview, we can see only the image. In this case, we'll see some attributes as well, some additional columns. That is just the question of visibility and proper template for the column. And then the filter, it's part of this story as well. It's part of minimal implementation, right? The folders filter.
I don't know. It depends on like if it's feasible to deliver the new filter, like folder filter, in the scope of one story. We can create like a new story if it makes sense.
Yeah, probably I would create a new story because filter is. So let me explain this scene. Right now, Media Gallery is using folder structure to organize its content. As we are going to introduce the masonry grid, that is UI listing component to the Media Gallery instead of current implementation, we'll need to still preserve that file system navigation. But in context of UI listing UI component, it has to be a filter to filter images. So basically, right now, all images are filtered by Visivik folder. So we are looking only in Visivik folder. If I had to unselect the Visivik folder in this case, we'll show nothing will be selected, so probably all the images will be shown. Or only storage root images will be shown. That's an alternative to selecting storage root in Media Gallery. And here is a question that we were discussing, but I'm not sure if we took the final decision on it. Like, if we select storage root, should we display the content, the images from subfolders? And in this case, if we unselect all the folders, should we display the images of child folders? If none of the folders are selected, that will be all images. If Visivik, for example, selected, that will be images in the Visivik directory and images in child directories like gear as well.
I think the way we discuss that is like if the folder is a filter, it makes sense to, if no folder is selected, then there is no filter applied. Then we show all the assets that match the filter, right? So it's basically all the assets, not only the top level, because in that case, we need to have another option for top level filter, right? And the folder association of the folder and the image should be really one-to-one. So if I'm opening Visivik folder, I have assets. I see only assets that's associated specifically with that folder, with the Visivik folder. If I have folders inside Visivik, like women, home, whatever, I will only see. I will see the folders that is there, but I can only see the files or assets associated with the folder if I click on there. So I apply a new filter, let's say, right? If I click on women, I apply the filter by folder called Visivik women, right? Like a full path. It shouldn't be like Visivik and women or Visivik and all the childs. That's my assumption. I would like to keep asset and folder to be one-to-one association. You cannot have assets in multiple folders because the folder doesn't make sense in this case. We can just use some arbitrary taxonomy like category or something like that.
Okay, that makes sense. So we are basically preserving the behavior of current media gallery when on the selected folder is displayed, except for storage root in this case, because to see images from storage root, we'll need to drop the filter.
Well, I really don't like the concept of storage root. And again, this is the question of like, is it backwards compatible or not? Do we use file system or not? It's like, for me, yeah, I guess you're right. Like, storage root would be no folder in this case, but I really don't want to have a situation when people can upload images to storage root and basically have to deal with that. Like I need to use some sort of a special folder for all, because it just doesn't make sense if we use hierarchy structure to have this kind of like one folder that, I don't know, like, again, I have no clear vision on this. Like I can't formulate it enough, but I think like if we follow the filter structure, then we shouldn't have the situation when you have images without a folder, let's say, right? It should always have some sort of a folder, and I don't like the folder called storage root because it's not user-centric. It's more like I don't know, file system-centric. I would like to have some sort of like a folder that maybe we created by default, like let's call it Visivik, right? And all the images would land in that folder. So I don't have a situation when I have images in some sort of a root folder, and I don't have a situation when I have images that are not associated with any folder. I think image should be associated with at least one folder, and it should be some sort of a meaningful name called Visivik or, I don't know, user uploaded, whatever. I don't like storage root because it's very kind of like again, very coming from a file system, very technical thing. And we're talking about like improving the UI, right? We want more organization here.
Yeah, I understand.
That's my opinion.
I think I kind of like it, but yeah, here I actually think it will be interesting to hear the input from contributors, because these are guys who are working on real projects and know how things are organized with media there.
Yes, I agree. Definitely would like to hear feedback of what are the implementations that you work in, and how do you use like file system? Do you use storage root? And yeah, it would be interesting to see.
Guys, I was going to say, I can understand both point of view. From one side, having a root folder makes sense in the way that it's going to be selected by default. It's easy to go back to that one after you select, let's say, for example, using the image in the screen, woman. If you open the gallery for first time, you expect something to be selected to see the images in that folder. At the same time, I understand what Eugene says about the name of the folder. Having something like root directory is a bit unfriendly, I would say. So maybe we can combine the two options and have something like what you see, what you get, which is the name of that folder in the image, and that be the root folder and be pre-selected by default when you open the gallery. If you then go to woman, for example, you're going to see images in that folder. Same if you go to any other folder, keeping the one-to-one relation between images and folder. Not sure if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a very valuable input, by the way, Eugene. Let me just transfer what I understood from Raul's input to some example. So with Vic, we can delete this folder, right?
What do you mean?
Like we have folder management, we can create folders, we can delete folders.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
imagine we delete Vic folder and then we delete catalog folder. And then we opened search Adobe Stock, for example, and trying to save image. Where this image is going to go?
Yeah, you're right. I understand. So I agree. Then some sort of a place, like images has to go somewhere, right? If it's no folder, if there is no folders, what would be that case, right?
Yeah, there should be some root folder that is not deletable and that it is the basis for everything. Like when you open the media gallery for the first time, we cannot decide which folder are we going to select. We can unselect all folders, for example, but yeah, if we delete all folders, then that probably from viewpoint of view, yeah, we can display all images because no filters are applied. But from a storage point of view and backend point of view, like we really will be in trouble because we will not be able to identify where should we save images. That's why I think if the storage root is not really good content, we can rename the storage root to, let's say, media. That is actually true because storage root is media directory in Magento. And also in this way, we will be compatible with the media structures that will come from the upgrades because like probably most of Magento stores or at least a lot of Magento stores that will be at version 2.4 will be upgraded Magento 4 stores from version 2.3. So they will have the media directory and all the directories inside the media directory. And yeah, we can represent it as a media and say that it will look like WYSIWYG right now, but that will be, let's say, root non-deletable directory.
Is it media directory accessible from this point? I mean, in Magento there is a media, and inside media there is what you see, what you get, which is the directory that is selected in this image. You're saying that? Yeah.
Yeah, it is accessible.
Guys, this is Elena. Sorry for chiming in. So currently we have like a storage root and two folders that exist like natively, catalog and WYSIWYG. And WYSIWYG is the folder that is selected by default when you open media gallery in CMS area, like pages or blocks. And catalog is the folder that is selected by default if you open a media gallery from catalog section, like catalog category page. So I believe this is like somehow should be related to how WYSIWYG images are organized on the client's instances. So they like use at least two different folders. At least that this is the way how Magento offers the option to use this, and maybe we at least should consider like how we develop from there. Does this make sense?
Well, I would say that by default, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, by default when you install clean Magento without any sample data, let's say, and you open Media Gallery, you have only storage root. Is it correct?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think WYSIWYG folder always exists.
Yeah, I also think that WYSIWYG, what you see when you get folder of WYSIWYG always exists, as well as catalog. And as Olena said, it depends from where you look at this Media Gallery. If you look at the product configuration form, you will see the catalog, and if you look at from the CMS pages or blogs, you will see what you get. I think I'm in a DAO now.
And actually, catalog and WYSIWYG can be deleted, as you can see, even from Magento interface. You can delete this folder.
Does it delete the images?
Yeah, it will delete folder with images to the section. And all subfolders as well.
So, I mean, from like product side perspective, it would be better to keep these folders that we have right now natively. We might consider not to have the storage root, I mean, displayed on UI. Obviously, there is a storage root on the file system, but we can choose not to have it on the UI, right? So basically, the way how Eugene presented it on mockups, when we have folders but no storage root exposed.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say it's fine if we have the storage root and the files and folders in there, but I really wouldn't encourage people to use the storage root to upload their images, right? Because if it's on the same level than your catalog images, it's kind of like doesn't make sense really. So what if we try to somehow discourage people from using the storage root? Again, remove it from UI.
What do you mean discourage from using? Can you explain a bit more? What do you mean by that?
Yes, I'm just trying to do that. So in UI, we will not have it. Like we will have WYSIWYG and catalog by default, but people can uncheck I guess remove the filter, right? And they will see all the images and those that don't have folder associated. Therefore, it would be images in the storage root.
So how can they remove the filter by folder? So let's say I have the WYSIWYG folder selected by default, so I see the images that are in that folder, right? So how can I uncheck that?
So I think in the new design we were talking about having this in a part of the filter, and also you can click the WYSIWYG folder again, I guess, to uncheck it. I think I have it on the new version of the prototype. Can you reload the page, please?
Got it. Yeah, I missed that. That it's not just selection, current selection, but just like a filter.
Yeah, so I just pushed the latest. You can see we have this kind of like, and let me just continue.
Now it makes sense.
So yeah, and we're still keeping the root folder. So if you let's say you upload in a new image, right? And by default, it will upload to the folder that you currently selected. If you don't have a folder selected, it will upload the image to this quote-unquote storage root and have no folder associated with that. But maybe we can either warn people like, hey, we want you select the folder, or we can say it is required to select a folder first to upload it. So we're kind of backwards compatible with old installations when you may have images in the storage root. But we're kind of discouraging people from doing that, or we even ban users from doing that from now on. If you use new media gallery, you cannot upload images directly to the storage root. You have to have some sort of a folder. What do you think, guys, about that?
Yeah, actually, I like that approach. I think it could work and sounds good. Guys, any input from contributors? Any thoughts on storage root? What do you think about it?
Perfect.
Really?
Nice.
You're so funny.
That went down really fast from perfect to nice.
Okay, guys, we actually it's 15 minutes out of the call. I think that probably, yeah. What do you think about continuing on the next call? And next week we will just go without demos and dedicate the meeting completely to the grooming, because it looks like we have lots of fun and lots of discussions here, and it also requires some time.
Yes, but may I suggest something?
Yes.
Okay, it will be nice if you will highlight the most tricky questions in our channel, just in order to save a time and try to be prepared for this discussion. So, for example, this storage root or whatever you want to discuss, or you recognize this topic is questionable, please write your thoughts in our Adobe Stock channel, and everyone who will want to join this discussion will think about this and prepare some thoughts, just in order to save our time, because 1 hour, as we see, sometimes is not enough to make a decision. I think it sounds like a good proposal to put
Yeah,
I like the idea. Yeah, but only thing that I want to say that unfortunately, like, Slack channel is not the best option, as like over times the the messages can disappear and no longer accessible. So maybe let's guys review the mockups and add your questions to the stories, so we have them all like in relation of the stories, and we'll be able to review them, because like in the Slack it's just difficult to manage that and find the relevant question.
Yeah, sounds good to me. So anyway, it can be both Slack and GitHub. Like we can have more open discussion in Slack while systemizing and adding the points to GitHub stories.
Yeah, sure. So the most important that all of the open questions are on the story level. So like me and Eugene can go through them and like have an internal discussion, like figure out our way how to answer that, and then have a more productive discussion next time.
Yeah. Also answering the Alex proposal. Alex, I think there is no kind of tricky questions in general. There are like for everybody can spot some things that probably he used to work with, or he like everybody spots different tricky questions on the stories. So I really encourage everybody to take a look on the mockups, take a look on the stories. Like we understand the concept, we have some introduction today at this meeting, and just whatever questions you have or whatever concerns you see on the screenshots, just add them as the questions to GitHub stories.
Okay.
Does it sound okay, guys?
Yeah, I think that
Yep.
the other thing we said we were going to do was to decide the name for the media gallery, which is Media Gallery 2.0 or Media Gallery Reloaded or something like that. Are we going to use the Slack channel for to decide what name are we going to use or to vote? Or
Yeah, let's use Slack for media gallery naming, as it's just one decision that will be documented in code, right? Good. Thank you very much for your support. Thanks for your contributions, and for sure, thanks to everybody who participated in this meeting and in discussion.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Great chat.
thank you, guys.
Bye.
That was a
Thank
fun
you.
one.
Bye.
Yes, see you next week. And
See you next
yeah,
week.
see your questions and stories. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.